Hey Torah kids, time for another story from the Gemara. In this week's Torah reading, we read about how Avraham, while he was still called Avram, rescued his nephew Lot. There was a great war in the valley of Sodom, and the invading armies conquered the cities. Lot and his family were living in the city of Sodom at the time, and they were carried off by the invading armies with all the other people of the city. The Torah says in Genesis 14:14 through 15, when Avram heard that his relative had been taken captive, he led out his trained men, born in his house, 318, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. He divided his forces against them by night, he and his servants, and defeated them, and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is north of Damascus. That's an amazing miracle story. How did Avram, with only 118 men, defeat those great armies? There must have been thousands of men in those armies. Not only did he rescue Lot and all the other prisoners, he and his men even chased those armies right out of the land of Canaan. In the Talmud, on Sanhedrin 108b, the sages wondered about this story. And they said, "It is written in the prophet Isaiah, 'Who has aroused one from the east whom he calls in righteousness to his feet? He delivers up nations before him and subdues kings. He makes them like dust with his sword, as wind-driven chaff with his bow.'" The sages read this verse, and they said, this must mean that Avraham is the one from the east, and his men threw dust and chaff at the armies, and God changed the dust and chaff into swords and spears and arrows as it flew through the air. So they showered swords and spears and arrows onto the armies. And that must be how they won the battle. Maybe. Maybe not. But this reminds me of another story from the Gemara. On Tanit 21a, we read a story about Nachum Gamzu. In the days of the apostles, there was an old sage called Nachum Gamzu. Why was he called Nachum Gamzu? Because whatever befell him, he would declare, Gamzu l'tova, this also is for the good. Once it happened that the Jews needed to send a gift to the emperor of Rome, so that he would not decree some evil laws against them. They discussed the matter. Who should go? Who should carry the gift to the emperor? They knew that it would take a miracle to change the wicked emperor's mind about his evil decrees, so they chose Nachum Gamzu. After all, Nachum is accustomed to miracles, they said. They sent him with a bag full of precious stones and pearls as a gift to give to the emperor. On the way to Rome, he spent the night in a certain inn. While he was sleeping, the innkeepers unlocked the door to his room, snuck in, and emptied the bag, stealing all the precious stones and pearls. They filled the bag back up with sand so that Nachum would not notice. When Nachum arrived at Rome, he presented the bag to the emperor as a gift from the Jews. They opened the bag and found that it was full of sand. When he saw it, the emperor was furious. "So, is this how the Jews make fun of me? I will put them all to death." When Nachum heard this, he said, Gamzu l'tova, this also is for the good. Just then, Elijah the prophet appeared, disguised as one of the emperor's counselors. He said, "Wait a minute. Perhaps this is some of the dirt that their father Avraham used in battle. When he threw it at the enemy, it turned into swords and arrows. We should try it out." The emperor agreed to try it out. He sent the bag to his commanders who were making war against some province which Rome had not yet been able to conquer. They tried throwing the dirt at the enemy armies, and miraculously, the dirt and sand turned to swords and spears in the air, and the Roman army was victorious. In reward for such a wonderful gift, such a wonderful bag of dirt, the emperor refilled Nachum's bag with precious stones and pearls and sent him back to the land of Israel dressed in royal robes. On the way back, Nachum stayed at the same inn. When the innkeeper saw him, they asked him, "What did you give to the emperor that he has shown you such great honor?" Nachum answered, "I gave him the bag that I carried from here." They said to themselves, "If the emperor gave him such a reward for one bag of dirt from this place, we will bring the emperor cartloads of dirt, and we will be very, very rich." They tore down their inn and scooped up all the dirt it was standing on and carried it in carts to the city of Rome. They told the emperor, "The magic soil that the Jew gave you belonged to us. We have brought you more." The emperor tested out the new dirt on the battlefield, but when his soldiers tossed it at the enemy, it was just dirt. As a reward for bringing him dirt, the emperor had the innkeepers put to death.